No ja mam pytanie do ciebie, panie Radku.
Proszę bardzo, jestem gotowy.
Wybierasz się na Global Trends Festival, czy nie?
Oczywiście, że się wybieram.
No.
Oczywiście, że się
Global
wybieram.
Trends Festival to już jest chyba trzecia czy czwarta edycja. Zaraz zaproszenie na Global Trends Festival, zaraz powiem więcej szczegółów. Poproszę.
We can turn the tide within the next.
Global Trends Festival pod marką Business Insider Polska. Oczywiście 4 wirtualne sceny, 5 dni, naprawdę się będzie dużo działo.
No, powiedziałeś, gdzie się wybieram, pewnie będę przechodził między jednym a drugim pokojem, żeby móc się łączyć przez cały dzień z różnymi też strefami i doglądać tego, jak w różnych strefach czasowych to wszystko wygląda.
Ale my mamy niespodziankę też dla naszych uczestników.
I to bardzo, bardzo ważne.
właśnie.
Słuchajcie, ponieważ chcielibyśmy, żebyście również wy mieli szansę wziąć udział w tymże wydarzeniu. Dla wszystkich uczestników naszej dzisiejszej konferencji Impact Day mamy zniżkę 50%, jeśli chodzi o cenę. Widzicie to wszystko na naszym ekranie.
Od ceny Early Bird. To jest bardzo istotne, bo cena Early Bird jest...
Jak to Early
wiadomo,
Bird?
jak to Early Bird
Odlatuje.
Odpowiednio nisko.
Szybko,
Dobrze.
dość szybko.
Zapraszamy was bardzo serdecznie, a teraz już przed nami za moment
Jeszcze
Andreas.
zanim,
się dzieje?
poczekaj spokojnie. Ważna rzecz, słuchajcie, ponieważ oczywiście można bilety kupić, a można też się dostać za darmo.
A no 5 osób, które...
I teraz, o co chodzi? Słuchajcie, dla pierwszych 5 osób, które wezmą udział w quizie, który przygotowaliśmy dla was, te osoby zdobędą darmową wejściówkę na Global Trends Festival. Więc pędźcie, wypełniajcie teraz, odpowiadajcie na to pytanie quizowe z tymi osobami, które będą pierwsze. Skontaktujemy się po evencie.
Ale to nie koniec jeszcze naszych niespodzianek. Pod koniec dzisiejszego dnia powiemy jeszcze o jednej.
Będzie się
jeszcze.
działo.
Tak.
Staramy się o to attention.
Dobrze, to teraz zawalczą o waszą uwagę Andreas Lithner z Brand Metrics, o którym już Jovan Protic wspomniał, i Beata Golubińska, dyrektor z Lithner Axel Springer Polska.
Hello, Andreas.
Dzień dobry, dziękuję bardzo for having me.
O, dzień dobry, dzień dobry.
Let's switch into Polish, I guess.
No, those are the two words.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm Anders Lithner with Brand Metrics, and I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about thinking brand lift and why that's so important and how it can help make advertisement more effective, how we can measure it, and what we can learn from measuring brand lift. I think we can all agree that there's a lot more going on in the campaigns that we work with than just the delivery of the campaigns in terms of impressions and unique browsers and the small fraction of people clicking on them. In fact, people buy loads of products and services every day being influenced by marketing, but without clicking on anything. Most of us never click on anything, but we consume things, and we do that influenced by good digital advertisement, without leaving any meaningful traces in the traditional technical ad tech data. And that's our claim to fame. So what we try to do is create that meaningful data about what the campaigns are really achieving in the minds of the recipients. Good campaigns can make people that previously were not aware of the brand or the product or the offer to become aware. It can push people from knowing the brand into starting to consider the brand. If it's good, it could even push people from walking around considering the brand or the product into starting to really like it, maybe prefer the brand, and if we're lucky, even create plans and intents to go and buy the brand. And that's precisely the kind of data that we try to put on the market at scale in a way that is comparable between campaigns and markets and time. Not going to spend time talking much about us other than to say that we've been doing this for some time. So today we've been measuring approximately 10,000 campaigns providing brand lift reports, and we add another 600 campaign brand lift measurements every month. We're a small company, but we have boots on the ground in 6 countries. Not that we care that much these days because we're all doing it this way on video, but that's kind of us. And we do this with premium publishers across the world. So, I mean, these are examples of media groups that have chosen to install our technology to enable brand lift measurements and to give you guys as marketer robust data on campaign brand lift. And as you can see, these media owners are premium, and there's a reason for that. And that reason is that if you really want to build awareness or brand warmth, liking and preference and intent, there's no better place to do that than with premium media. Okay, how do we do this then? Well, this is the kind of simplified general idea of almost all advertisement, that people walk around not having a relationship with our brand until we expose them to our lovely advertisement, and then their brains heat up, their minds heat up, and then start liking us. This is maybe a bit much to ask after exposing one banner to one person once that this will happen, but at the end of the day, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for patiently exposing good advertisement to people so that they start having a relationship with our brand, even if it's just awareness, but preferably liking and preference and even intents to use us. To make that happen, it takes brilliant advertisement, of course, and luckily that's your job, most of you, and it's not mine. But my job is to try and measure this. And to do that, we simply need these 2 kinds of data. We need data about the degree to which people have a relationship with the brand, and we need the data about the degree to which people are exposed to the brand's campaigns. And we need those 2 data sets to sit together for every measurement that we try to measure. Note that I'm saying we need data about the degree of the relationship and the degree of exposure. We don't want to find ourselves in a world where we just compare one exposed group to a non-exposed group, because methodologically, we often find ourselves comparing 2 different groups and the data doesn't make sense. We need a more algorithmic approach, but still, this is the kind of data that we need. The way we have solved this is we ask one smart little question in the actual environments where the advertisement have been going on. And this question captures all these 4 metrics: brand awareness, brand consideration, preference, and action or purchase intent. And we do this retargeted to visitors whose degree of exposure is known to us and tracked. In most cases, it's tracked using no pixels and no cookies. And that gives us the 2 sets of data that we need for our algorithm to start looking at what is the statistical relationship between being exposed to a campaign and having a relationship with the brand. And then when we have done these calculations, this is all happening automatically, of course, we can establish what is the baseline awareness in this audience for this brand, what's the brand standing, where do we start in terms of preference, etc. And more importantly, how much higher are these metrics among the people that were exposed to the campaign? So if you get one of these reports in your hand, you'll find that there's some additional 14 to 20 slides of interesting information to learn from, but this is the core of it. What's the brand lift? And brand lift in this case as a metric. Obviously, we relate this to benchmarks, comparing to maybe the same industry category, similar advertisers, etc. But this is the core of it all. Put metrics on the market on the brand lift of campaign, because it is business critical. There's also in these reports, there's 1-page summaries that serves the purpose of often the agency sending these high-level summaries of the brand lift back to the advertisers, so that everybody involved is on the same page in terms of if the campaign contributed to the long-term goal of building the brand. And this is comparable data to the kind of data that you would also get from the American platforms such as YouTube and Facebook. So that's what we're trying to do here. And I know that, I mean, you work on the agency side or the marketing side, you think, I wish I could have one of these reports across all the channels involved in my campaign. And that used to be the case, or never maybe ever an actual operational case, but back in the third-party data world, you'd find yourself, the advertiser, with or without the help of an agency, buying an audience, and then you would expose your campaign to that audience on different media channels, but you didn't really have to care which media house or publisher your ads were exposed in, because you had the data on the third-party cookie level. That cookie is going away. So in less than 1.5 years, we are in a first-party data world. And what we see many agencies now embarking on in terms of first-party strategy is this. It's finding themselves buying campaigns from each individual publisher or media channel, and behind them, there's an audience. But the consent and the first-party data, it sits with the media channel. So the ambition then have to be, and agencies are having a very important role here, is to make sure that the signals that comes back from each element in this campaign, each different media house, is comparable between each other, between different campaigns, and also between news publishers and social platforms or YouTube, whatever it is. A lot of media agencies are now embarking on trying to make this happen, and that's precisely what Brand Metrics is trying to do, is put comparable metrics on the market with across the whole ad land to make this kind of data comparable. And then at the end of the game, it's not the individual report anyway that's the real gold mine here, because yes, there's a lot to learn from running a campaign and then looking at the brand lift it delivered. But when you do this many times, you get interesting metadata that you can sort of slice by channel or by creative or ad format or by different campaign lengths, or you might want to compare sponsored content to video to whatever there is out there. And then you can start asking questions to this data. Like this one it's an example of showing what frequency should I be aiming at if I'm driving this objective and maybe in this industry with this kind of budget. And that data is super interesting to have. And luckily, guys like Axel Springer here in Poland have done more than 400 measurements like this and are really building up answers to questions like this. Another question might be, should I be going for a targeted media group to push people that already like me or at least consider me into intending to buy my product? Or should I work higher up in the funnel to try and create some awareness among the people that are not familiar with our product? And if so, what format should I be going with, campaign lengths, what frequencies, etc. So that is what we're trying to do, doing a lot of similar measurements, bringing these metrics to the market because they really matter. And my asking of you is to make sure you ask for these kinds of reporting, use them, and learn how to learn from them. Dziękuję bardzo again.
Dziękujemy bardzo. Thank you so much for your presentation, introduction to Brand Metrics technology and idea.